Episode 269. Who is that stranger?
Just stay put. The two people in the car are bad guys. They're kidnapping us and asking Mother for money.
Jeremy turned around and said,
Help untie me. We should run now. Okay.
Julianne then learned what she was supposed to do. Her fingers carefully felt the white robes and her face was wrinkled.
How do you untie this knot? We need scissors. There may be a knife under the seat. Didn't that uncle come out with a pair of knives? Right.
Julianne climbed down and slid into the bottom of the chair. She saw a lot of knives and took out the smallest one. She was somewhat interested and said happily,
A lot of knives, brother, look.
Be careful, don't cut yourself, cut the rope. Let's run now. She carefully cut the rope around Jeremy's wrist. He finally got his freedom back. The two little kids got out of the car. Only then did they discover that the two people fighting were lying on the ground, motionless. The man responsible for this was now coming towards them. His pace was slow and steady. Tall and muscular, he had great strength, no worse than their bodyguard, Uncle Dave. This man was very dangerous. Jeremy felt danger and became pale. He shouted,
Jules, run!
Julianne heard her brother's sudden cry and was shocked. Her expression changed and she cried,
Run, brother!
Jeremy pulled Julianne and ran towards the back, but it was clear that the man behind them was not only tall, but also had particularly long legs. He came close in 2 or 3 steps. The two little kids only felt that they were shrouded in a shadow. They were so scared that they suddenly shouted,
Help! Help!
After Serena arrived at the destination, she parked the car directly at the door. After waiting for a while, she received cash from Marcus. Asking him to stay in the same place and wait for Keith, Serena called the number. When she arrived at the hot dog vendor on the 3rd floor, she bought a cup of tea and sat down, looking around. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was the woman. I saw you. No, you put the money down. Your children are in the underground parking lot. I will tell them to release the children and you can see them immediately. How can I believe you? What if you take the money and don't let them go? Serena blinked her eyes vigilantly. Glancing around, she did not notice anyone suspicious nearby. Don't look. You can't see me. Are you alone? Do you see other people? Very good. You are honest. I will also be straight with you. Now go down from the fire exit and I will watch you. When you see the children, you put the money down. I only need the money. Serena thought about it and agreed. With the money, she went down the fire exit, but she pushed the door open. She heard the tender voices of children, Jeremy and Julianne.
Help! Help!
Serena's face changed dramatically. She ran up in high heels and saw a tall man approaching the two children. Bastard! Serena screamed, carrying a box of money in her hand, striding forward and rushing toward him. The tall man straightened up, turned around and saw her like this. He stuffed the two children into the gap between the two cars, and then he stepped back. You didn't keep the promise! Didn't you say you won't hurt them? Serena smashed the box of money at him, kicking him. The tall man lowered his cap and big sunglasses covered his face. Shocked to see the box coming over, he unconsciously reached out and caught it. However, all of a sudden, Serena's fist had already come to his ear. A bit stunned, the man shunned sideways and blocked her hand with the box. Serena hit the box and hurt her hand, but soon she kicked her leg towards the man's crotch. The man shrank backwards and pursed his lips, which were slightly curled. Then he reached out and grabbed her ankle. She wanted to take her foot back, but the man's hand was extremely stable. Despite that he was wearing large sunglasses, Serena still had clearly noticed that his gaze was aiming under her dress. He even blew the whistle. Serena was wearing a summer dress. This man was a pervert with intentions more than kidnapping. As he whistled, Serena's face suddenly became red. She roared, "Pervert!" The man did not say anything and grabbed her ankle with his big hand, pulling her close. Serena lost balance and exclaimed. Just as she thought she was going to fall, a big hand buckled her shoulder and picked her up. She was pinned against the rough wall. Angry, she raised her hand and attacked under his arm. This was a killer move she learned from Keith. No matter how strong the opponent was, Once their armpits were pressed, their hands would become sore. But the man seemed to see through her moves. He took her arm back and smiled provocatively at her. His hands on her shoulders gradually moved down, rubbing her waist and side. "Ah!" Serena bristled. And when she raised her fist to punch at his face, the man pulled back. "Don't run!" Seeing that he was about to turn and flee, Serena was so angry that she took off her high heels and threw it at the back of his head. The man was hit, but he was not in a hurry to turn around. After hearing the footsteps behind him got close, he turned back and held Serena's hand, twisting it backward. She screamed, and then she was pinned down on a nearby car. Serena felt the hot breath in her ear and became limp. She screamed with anger. "Bastard, let go!" The man chuckled and whispered into her ear. He deliberately lowered his voice so it was hoarse. There was no way to tell what his voice really sounded like. He said, "I did not know the president of the Robinson Group is so beautiful. Keeping the job aside for such beauty, I will take lives if needed."